The amount of AI tools out there is astronomical because there's tools and then there's models. And in those models, we have ones that are game changers like ChatGPT and Claude. But then we have others that internationally are spoken about way more often. In a recent interview by one of the top AI specialists, they discussed DeepSeek. The reason you clicked on this video, the reason that's making you question if there's another option that isn't what you've been force-fed, like ChatGPT. DeepSeek, it's completely different in the way it thinks and how Americanized ChatGPT is versus how international DeepSeek is. And that's exactly what we're here to find out in this video.
Welcome to GBRLIFE Reviews, where I test the tools, platforms, and systems so you don't waste your time, your money, or your energy. So let's get into it while you like and subscribe.
And don't forget, as per usual, there are chapters below. So if you're looking for something in particular, use those chapters, get straight to it in the video. So what is DeepSeek? DeepSeek is a large language model created by a Chinese AI company called DeepSeek. Yes, the same name. But it's not trying to be another generic assistant. And I'm not going to say that that's all ChatGPT does, but it is kind of where it's going. But here's the thing about DeepSeek. It's completely free. Instead of paying $20 a month for ChatGPT or even Claude, potentially also dealing with a few limitations within both, you're not really getting that in DeepSeek. Why? Because you're getting a very smart version of Gemini, 1 million tokens, and pretty much all of the reasoning capabilities that rival ChatGPT and Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Now, Claude has come out with a new one, so not sure if it rivals that one just yet, but it does take in file uploads, images, PDFs, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. You also get web search capabilities, and again, it's completely free. There's no subscription and there's no credits. So instead of paying for access, you're just using it. And that's a massive shift. So let's get into what I actually like about DeepSeek, what I don't like, and where it starts to get a little questionable. Welcome to DeepSeek. It's just a website. At least it looks like it from the surface. How do you get here? You literally just Google it. It is not restricted for those of us in the United States. Anyways, one of the best things about this is you have instant and you have expert. You can go directly here and decide immediately with all of this being free. And I'm going to say that a few times because this is just the most amazing thing to hear when it comes to AI. Free. Oh, I love it. But either way, instant expert. What does that even mean? Well, I just went ahead and asked DeepSeek itself right here on the side. Here are my chats. And on here, I wanted to know, what are you actually getting? What's the difference? Other than it having these two options, instant and expert, you have the ability to see how it thinks. So before I even say exactly what those two different options are, this thinking right here, that AI expert was absolutely correct. The way ChatGPT thinks versus the way that DeepSeek thinks is very different. In the way that ChatGPT thinks, it's very community-based within itself, which sounds weird. I've asked ChatGPT in the past if it is a he or they or what is it in that sense? What does it classify itself as? And it said we. It said we because it's going through all of its database and it considers all of its database all of it. So it's not a one tool, it is a many. Within DeepSeek, I see the same reasoning, but I also literally see a thought process. ChatGPT is more of conversation within itself versus this is also conversation, but in the way that you would think a human brain would think. And you actually see that right here. So it shows you what it's going through, what it's understanding that you're saying or thinking or feeling, and answering back to that. And when it did so with instant versus expert, it basically stated that instant is great for fast, concise answers without showing internal reasoning steps, versus your more expert side is going to give you more thorough, logical, and capable of handling complex problems. So think your advanced math, coding, multi-step reasoning, and nuanced analysis. So that's what your difference is over here. And that's one other thing that was really great about DeepSeek is that I can actually use instant expert, but I can also use deep think. There's a lot of different ways to go deeper into something, or you can just go very surface level if that's what you're looking for, which is very similar to ChatGPT. But I feel like this is a lot easier and more clean to get to that versus ChatGPT or Claude is going more into a specific project and asking it to kind of go into that deep research within that. Yes, you can probably just click a button in the same capacity, but it's all right in front of you. That's what I'm trying to say. The other thing with DeepSeek, and I mentioned it in the introduction, is that you get a million tokens here versus ChatGPT is 8,000 to 32,000 tokens, and Claude is about 200,000 tokens. But DeepSeek is giving you 1 million. So that means that you can drop an entire book or a massive code base or years of meeting transcripts if we're thinking more business or just corporate. And it's going to remember basically everything. So that's not a small advantage. That's kind of a game changer. And when we're talking about reasoning on here, within that, it's not bad at all. So I have a code. I will actually bring that up and show you just a quick code. Add it right here and say, debug this. It's wrong on purpose, and it's not going to take very long to do it. And what's great too is that as it's doing it, it's transparent in how it's showing you what it's doing. And there it is. It went ahead and debugged it, and it gave me the correct code without saying much or doing much. It's like, here you go, here's what it is. Now, if I want to know exactly what went wrong, it's in there too, right here. Fixed, used, instead of, it's in there. And so you understand what went wrong, but it's not screaming at you in your face, but you can also ask follow-up questions. Now, did I ask follow-up questions in different ways? Of course I did, but let's not go into code. Let's go to apple varieties. I did ask about the cosmic apple because I love the cosmic apple, and it knew exactly what I was talking about. And then I asked a little more in depth because I wanted to see how much further this could go. When was the Cosmic Crisp created? And it told me how it was created in 1997. But to show you another example of how great this actually is, let's now ask the question, where can you plant this apple? And I asked this question a while ago, but the chat is still here. It's still able to look at what the conversation had prior, and we're not having any real issues. And it is looking through the web, also providing you the sources so that you can go directly to what it found as well. So it's saying it's very easy to actually plant the cosmic apple. I absolutely love that. But it's saying specifically in Washington State. I'm in Texas, so that's okay. I guess I need to move to Washington now. Anybody from Washington? Go ahead and comment that below. I'd love to hear from you. What apples are your favorite? But here's the other thing with all of this. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Let's talk about some of the things I don't like. All of this is great, right? It has all these wonderful options. There's not a whole lot you can't do. I mean, it seems basic enough, but what can it do? What's not so great? Well, do you see an image option? No, because it's not going to generate any images for you. So that's not what you're getting here. It's basically also not perfect at everything. The other thing within this is it's so straight to the point. Okay, thanks for the answer. Whereas if you're talking to some of the other AI models, they seem to have a personality. This one doesn't have a personality really at all. And I mean, I like to talk. So where's the conversation? Let's go back and forth. It's where I get some ideas. Do you get ideas that way? Because how else do we get it? Do we not all have conversations in our head and long walks on the beach in our heads because we can't all be at the beach? You know, that's not where I am in Texas, so that's not what's going to happen. But I would like to be on long walks in the beach, maybe, or talk with an apple. I would like to be on long walks on the beach with an apple, but talking to DeepSeek, and I want to see its personality. I think it's hiding something from us. I think it needs to tell us all about its personality, but it doesn't have one. That's the problem. You know, and that's okay. So I'm getting all this information, but I have to be all like serious and stuff. Other issue, privacy questions. Now, I don't know how much of it I believe these days. There's a lot going on and a lot of things coming out. So the question is it private enough? Are we dealing with something that you don't really want to add in any sort of proprietary code, confidential, anything, or sensitive data? I would say right now, for anybody, when it comes to privacy, just be careful and don't put much of anything on the internet if you don't need to. That's my big thing. That's where I go with all of this. That's your safety point. But of course, there's a little bit of a concern in that. And the last thing is, when I mentioned that there's no images, that also affects how it's looking at images. If I were to go and add an image to this, it can look at the text on the image, but it doesn't actually see the image. Gemini, ChatGPT, they can see the image. They're looking and processing at the full image. This is not. You are not getting that from DeepSeek. But you are getting a much more, just serious, reliable answer. And yet also, it could be a little unreliable too. Why? Because the knowledge cutoff was July of 2024. So you can provide it documentation and it can search the web, but its own internal knowledge isn't there past July of 2024. So it's giving you solid information, but it may be missing quite a bit. And we already know this is free, which is fantastic. So we don't have to go into any of the pricing portion of this, but there is another big question. Is it worth it? Yeah, especially if you're looking for a really good AI assistant, but without a subscription, or just in general, you're tired of paying for AI. Or you care about reasoning and analysis over personality, unlike some of us. You work with massive documents or code bases. I think this would be a really great place for a lot of engineers. Again, nothing proprietary, but it's not worth it if you're someone like myself and you really need to have a full conversation in therapy. Is that sensitive information? No, because I'm pretty sure all of us have some serious trauma that we're working through. Or if you need 99.9% of reliability every single time. Also, if you're looking for, just image generation or video generation and things like that, I mean, all those other tools are basically doing that, but you're not getting that from DeepSeek. And that is the reason why for the GBRLIFE rating, I'm giving DeepSeek a 3.5 out of 5. Now, here's the thing. I'm sure you thought it was going to be significantly higher. I do love DeepSeek because it is really good at what it does. However, because the privacy question is pretty real here and the reliability is not great because of the fact that it stops July 2024. Plus, you don't really get any image options or video options. It's really great. It's really powerful. And it's free, which is fantastic. But some of those other things are holding it back. If it's added to this, this is definitely something that ChatGPT should be a little nervous about, because it has everything else and then some. Ultimately, DeepSeek is a powerful, free, reasoning-focused tool with significant trade-offs in creative, visual, and privacy-sensitive or mission-critical reliability domains. But the price and context window, plus the reasoning, that's a killer combo. And for a free tool, it's a solid option when you're not looking to pay a cent. Either way, it's not just another AI chatbot. It is a wake-up call. It's a signal that in the era of paying $20 to $30 for basic AI access, it should be ending. That should start to go away. Let's go more into a free world, at least something for free. Because if DeepSeek updates to 2026 and enhances the creative side, I don't see how ChatGPT is not going to be at least a little nervous. Have you tried DeepSeek? Tell me, would you switch from ChatGPT or Claude to a free model? Or is the privacy thing too risky for you? And also let me know, is there another tool you want me to break down? Drop that below, because there's a lot of tools out there and not all of them are worth your time. But if you want more, check out the companion blog on GBRLIFE.com. Of course, it's linked below. And if you want another tool right now, check it out on GBRLIFE Reviews, the playlist, or go watch my last review on Google Stitch. Is it the beta design tool that you've been dreaming of? We'll find that out when you watch that one next. And remember, with everything on GBRLIFE.com and my fabulous Mama Koala clothing brand, you don't have to be without GBRLIFE in your life. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.